Good afternoon. Welcome to the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you with this Eagles versus Rams reaction video, plus Ravens preview recap. I definitely thank you guys, as always, for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as on Substack. And now you can also check the show out on Podbean and as well as Trovo. Now, like I said, hopping into this episode, definitely be remiss if I didn't do this episode. Y'all know I was going to get to it. This episode is dedicated to the Bird Gang, Fly Eagles Fly. Eagles have been dominant, and then it showed their dominance again last Sunday night against the Los Angeles Rams. Physical performance, definitely loved how the team played. It was a little interesting to start. Because you kind of saw how, Los Angeles was kind of getting whatever they wanted, running the football. Had you a little worried, kind of thinking about where things may end up, how things may play out. However, what it really boiled down to at the end of the day was Philadelphia is a better football team. They're a more physical football team and the more aggressive. And Sean McVay has this finesse style of football play that I just have never been a fan of. Where it's a lot of sexy flexy, kind of diverting your attention here, misdirection there shit that just really isn't good. It really isn't. If you don't have the talent for it, it's not efficient or effective enough to win games. And it got exposed again. What a shock. But nonetheless, some of the things I definitely wanted to touch on, like I said, defense stepped the fuck up. Dominance showing by that defense again. Brandon Graham, like I said, it's sad to hear about him having that torn triceps and being out for the season. Definitely is going to require a lot of young guys to step up. I'll touch on that briefly too in a bit. But definitely shout out to Brandon Graham. Tremendous game. A.J. Brown got in on the action, had a quiet 100-yard game. Again, guys like Nakobe Dean on defense, guys like Zach Bourne, guys like Brandon Graham. It's been guys like that all season that's just been making the plays, that's been helping put the team in position. You knew throughout the first half Saquon hadn't broke loose yet. He hadn't had that game, that huge gain where he was going to, take it to the house. He eventually took it to the house. Saquon was, again, deadly. Had the best rushing attack game of his career. Literally, I believe it was literally by the end of the second quarter, he had already had 140 yards rushing. Saquon has just changed life for this team. It's been beautiful to see. A lot of people definitely say he's an MVP candidate. I definitely can agree with that. He probably won't win it, but I'll be more happy if he wins the Super Bowl. Being honest with you, that's the trophy that most Eagles fans are concerned about. But it was definitely interesting to see his performance and how he played. It was tremendous. I didn't like the game that the referees were calling. I thought it was pretty shitty on both sides, really, but there are a lot of bad calls. They saved the Rams from 2 pass interference calls, which in my opinion, had those 2 pass interference calls not even been called, the Rams probably don't even score 14 points. So, be that as it may. Then you go into Darius Slay, who I feel like has been banged up all year with that knee injury. He's kind of just been trying to hang tough and hang in there because, solid vet, still doing the job, still playing at a decent level. That being said, I'm tired of every time we start a game, he's 2 or 3 plays in and then we see him banged up. I know that everybody's like, well, Isaiah Rodgers didn't play that great. That was the first time Isaiah Rodgers in a while had to actually play, throwing it in the cold, not a rotational spot, but literally throwing it in the cold and having to start. I think if he has to start with Slay being out, if he has to start this week going against Baltimore, I think that'll benefit him, going down the stretch because I think he's been one of the Eagles' better corners this year. And I don't think he's necessarily better than Darius Slay. I just think this year he's played better than Slay. Also, too, I love the screen calls that Kellen Moore was calling, doing a lot to get Kenny Gainwell in the action, a lot of the plays to get Saquon the ball. The old line was just ultimately wearing down the Rams. Like I said, physical, dominant performance that you could see from literally from the second quarter on. Like I said, Jalen didn't even have necessarily the greatest game out there, but again, effective, efficient, doing exactly what was required and it was needed. You had Jalen Carter pretty much having fuck the game up plays where he's just bullying the center, bullying the guards, getting through the A gap, getting through the B gap, causing all types of hell and terror. It just boiled down to, you saw a team, Milton Williams as well, you just saw a team where the Eagles are just better than the Rams, and it showed. Key takeaways, like I said, Saquon, again, 255 yards rushing, most yards in the game in team history. Shout out to him for that. The refs probably shouldn't work. Those referees that referee that game shouldn't work another important game the rest of the season because they were fucking terrible. Shout out to Puka Nacua, 8 receptions, 110 yards. He had a great game. Dominant showing, like I said. Defense was definitely there. Offense played well as well. Dominant showing. Jalen was smart with the football, and his decision-making was good again. If he keeps at this rate, this team is going to be contending for the Super Bowl once again. They have a stranglehold right now in the NFC East. And this game against Baltimore, which is the game that I definitely really want to touch on, that is going to be the pivotal game because, again, it's a swing game. So make no mistake about it. Like, if they lose the game, it's not an end-all, be-all. But it's one of those games where if they win, it changes the narrative around that team and establishes some dominance, maybe changes the media narrative. But however, what it really does in their mind psychologically is let them know is we could play with anybody. And I believe Philadelphia already has that mindset. I believe they already feel they can play with anybody. But this is going to be a true test with Lamar Jackson coming to town. He's going to test that rush defense. He's going to test that pass defense. Those young corners are going to get tested. The running game for the run defense for sure is going to be tested. Derrick Henry has been getting whatever he has wanted on offense against anyone that he's played against. I'm not sure how the Vic Fangio is going to have the plan of attack ready for this. Ultimately, I'm pretty sure they're going to do a lot of stunt rushes as far as Lamar to try to keep him in the pocket because Lamar wants to throw. And I think that's what Vic Fangio wants. He prefers him throwing instead of running a lot. So we'll see how that plays out. The key would definitely be contain Lamar Jackson, contain Derrick Henry at all costs. I think at that point you have to put at least 5 helmets on this man. And offensively, continue to be smart and efficient with the football. They know you're running the ball. And I think this would be one of those days where if the running game isn't there, if the running game is starting to get snuffed out early, stay with it because I really feel like this pass defense is so garbage that the Ravens pass defense is so bad that if the Eagles are able to get the play action working early, this game might get ugly. And I'm probably the only person that's probably saying that. And I know it's fine because, again, you're talking about 2 of the best teams in the NFL. But the Ravens pass defense is atrocious. And they've gotten away through most of the season playing against bad teams and playing against teams that really haven't been able to test them. And the teams that have tested them have shown, and that's the reason why they've lost 4 games to this point. So neither Philly or the Ravens are impervious to losses or unbeatable. However, I just really feel like the keys to Philadelphia is continue to be smart with the football, continue to be decisive, run the football, even at times when it's not working. So that way, when that play action game is set up, you can lure that defense up and then bomb it over their head. Because if Philadelphia can do that, they're going to win this game. They're going to be 10-2. And then, like I said, it's going to change the narrative around this team. It's going to change the national media narrative. And then ultimately, it's going to put it on notice. This team's going to be a team to be fucked with come Super Bowl time. So it's going to do it for this episode, guys. Like I said, I thank you guys for watching this recap. I'll definitely have an instant reaction video for the game after 425. Again, Ravens versus Eagles. That game will be in Baltimore. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving. And most importantly, happy holidays, guys.